Now, wherein some relief to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz, who's been a vocal critic of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, has postponed his resignation. The leader of the centrist National Unity Party cancelled his earlier plan to resign from the cabinet after the rescue of 4 Israeli hostages in Gaza on Saturday. Gantz had set the 8th of June ultimatum 3 weeks ago. He was slated to conduct a press conference on the day of the party's deadline to leave Netanyahu's government. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asked the War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz not to resign after Gantz threatened to quit over the lack of post-war strategy for the Gaza Strip. With Gantz gone, Netanyahu would have lost the backing of a centrist bloc that has helped broaden support for the government in Israel and abroad. He would have to rely more heavily on the political backing of ultra-nationalist parties. While Gantz rejoiced in the fact that the IDF rescued the hostages, he stressed that the challenges remain as they were.
צריך לזכור כי כל האתגרים איתם מתמודדת ישראל, באשר להשבת יתר 120 החטופים והחטופות, ובאשר ליתר האתגרים הביטחוניים בכלל זירות המלחמה מול האזור, מול העולם, כמו גם מבית פנימה.
And for more on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen joins us from Ra'anana from Israel. Jody has been covering the Israel-Hamas war very closely from ground zero. Jody, what can you tell us about the rescue operation and some of the reactions to it?
Right, so 4 Israeli hostages have been rescued in an IDF operation in central Gaza. Among them is Noah Argamani. She's perhaps one of the most well-known of the hostages after a Hamas video went viral of her being taken into Gaza. And she's been reunited with her mother, who's battling stage 4 brain cancer and whose last wish was to see her daughter again. Now, Defence Minister Gantz has said that this is one of the most heroic and extraordinary operations that he's seen in 47 years of serving Israel's defence establishment. But Palestinian President Abbas has called it a massacre and called for an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. The Israel Defense Forces said that there were less than 100 Palestinian casualties, that troops came under intense fire during the rescue operation, to which they responded. Now, after the rescue operation, Hamas spokesperson Abu Obaida threatened the lives of the remaining 120 hostages. President Biden has welcomed the return of the 4 hostages and vowed to keep working to release the others. And Prime Minister Netanyahu hailed the operation and said that Israel does not surrender to terrorists and will return all of its hostages one way or another.
Now, Benny Gantz, seen as one of the chief rivals to Netanyahu, had been expected to leave the coalition on Saturday. What happens with that? And where do all of these developments leave the hostage truce proposal?
So Prime Minister Netanyahu took to X and he asked War Cabinet Minister Benny Gantz not to leave the coalition. He said it was a time for unity, not division. And that's after Gantz had cancelled an announcement this evening after the rescue of the 4 hostages. And in the announcement, he had been expected to announce that he was leaving the emergency coalition. Remember, Gantz had given Netanyahu a deadline of the 8th of June to come up with a plan for Gaza, or that he would leave. There had also been some reports that he was possibly reconsidering because of Israel's proposal to Hamas for a hostage truce deal. Now, a few minutes after Netanyahu's post, Gantz responded. He said he called on the Israeli leadership and the Prime Minister to consider responsibly how it is best and possible to continue from here. Meanwhile, some anti-government protests went ahead as planned on Saturday night, but some representatives of the families of the remaining hostages called to focus on the hostage truce deal to bring home all of the hostages. Now, Qatar and Egypt have reportedly been increasing their pressure on Hamas to agree to Israel's proposal, but Hamas has said that the resistance will continue. They're still holding 120 hostages and that they could increase that number.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.